Hey everybody, welcome back. Brand new Mindset and Motivation Monday. Can't wait to get into today's topic. It's one of my favorites. And that is because once I learned this simple quote or overall philosophy, I was better able to deal with the struggle of today. Many of us deal with our own obstacles and our own challenges, and it never seems like there's any way out. But yet when we look back a year from now, or 2 years from now, maybe even 3, we can understand what that struggle was for and why it was probably all worth it. So this absolutely changed my life when I heard this, when I understood this philosophy. It took a while to get it, to really grasp it. And I'm really committed to sharing it with as many people as humanly possible. And that is this, is that an easy life today equals a hard life in the future. And a hard life today equals an easy life in the future. So you get to choose. You get to choose the easy life today, and I'll explain exactly what that means, or the harder life today. Now, when I say easy life or hard life, I don't necessarily mean that like every day is a constant battle or struggle. But as I start to share the examples, I think you'll get it. I think you'll understand that maybe you are leaning too far towards that easy life right now, when you might want to take up a greater challenge, and I'll share why in a moment, or you might be in the struggle and you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? And if it is, great, you have something to look forward to. So an easy life looks like this. And again, I didn't get this until I was really in my mid-30s. To be honest with you, is because you need to let enough life go by in order to understand the value of those lessons, the wisdom that comes with age. And I'm not saying that you're wise when you're in your mid-30s. I certainly am not saying that. However, the more years that go by and the more life experience you have, the more wisdom you do develop. It doesn't just hit you one day like, oh, now I have the wisdom I need. No, it comes with living, right? It's hard to have that at 18 years old, 22 years old. However, what I can say is that it's the things you do in your 20s and early 30s that it's often difficult for me to say this, but it really matters. And it either sets you up for the rest of your life, or it offers more challenge in your later 30s. Here's what I mean. So, and again, this goes for any age. I know there are people in their 80s and 90s listening to this podcast, and you have far more wisdom than I. But what I would share is that we're always in the struggle. And we're always choosing between the harder decision today or the easier one, the excuse. Well, when you're in your 20s, it's easy not to focus on your career. It's easy to focus on your social life or social media nowadays, or basically choosing to party more often rather than work on, as I said, what you're looking to do, or at least move in that overall direction. So it's difficult to say, I know exactly what I'm going to do with my entire life when I'm in my 20s. But your 20s then is a great time to explore different jobs, different internships, different opportunities that you may have. When maybe you don't necessarily need as much money, pay your school loans, pay for your rent, a few things like that, but you can get by on less. And so it allows you the opportunity to kind of feel your way through your 20s as to what may work for you, while settling in then potentially on a career or a path in life of one that you truly desire. Another thing though, in your, let's say 20s, 30s, and again, this could be any age, but I'm just giving you this example because it's much more clear at this point in your life, is you're not saving any money. Now, one part it's difficult because you may not be making that great of an income. So it's difficult to save money when you're not making a lot of money or you have a lot of expenses. But by not saving any, just as an example, it's more difficult than in your 30s to buy a home or to pay for education or to take trips or whatever it may be. But these are sometimes decisions. Now, if you're working hard and you're still not able to save, that is what it is at that moment in time. But hopefully as you're working hard, you're going to be able to move up in your career. Then you're going to be compensated more. And again, this isn't just about finances, but if you kind of take whatever career there is right now, you're not as focused and you're more focused on spending your money on material things, nice cars, clothes, etc. Those things are nice now, easy life, right? But much more difficult because that money doesn't come back to you in the future. All right, another big thing more in my area is it's not a big deal, it seems, right? Not a big deal when you are gaining a little bit of weight through your, let's just say, mid to later 20s and early 30s, maybe 5 pounds per year. It's a half a pound per month. It's kind of what the average person may gain. But the problem is you look back in 10 years and you say, wow, I've gained 35 to 50 pounds. The majority of people, a lot of them in our practice at least, want to lose 30 to 50 pounds. And so that doesn't happen typically overnight. So you look back and you say, wow, yes, I was more active in college. I was more active before that. And then I started to become more sedentary, started to eat out more, move more towards that standard American diet. Sleep started to suffer. And then all of a sudden, we've got the weight gain. Why do I mention weight gain? Well, weight gain is really something that precipitates chronic disease. Not always. You can have chronic disease without the weight gain, but certainly there's a lot more inflammation. And so what happens is that the easy life right now is going out to dinner all the time, enjoying whatever foods you want, and just not thinking about how you might be setting yourself up later in life. And that is challenging. It's challenging just because your mind isn't even fully formed in terms of the wiring, the circuitry until about 25 years old is the estimate. And so the adult brain really begins around 25. And I know for me, for sure, it was closer probably to 26, 27 years old. And what happens then, though, is that we are often living for today. And I do love that. There's something romantic about that. It's like living in the all present now. And there's no doubt about it. You should absolutely strive to be present, but you still need to plan for the future, right? So I want to enjoy my life today, but I also want to think about living to 100 years. And so the things I do today, like I could go really hard with my workouts and just crush my body. And it might feel great today to get all that adrenaline and cortisol and norepinephrine going. I do a really hard boot camp workout, whatever it might be. But not only might be I inflamed tomorrow, but are my joints going to last then the next 50 plus years? I don't know. I don't know if that's the wisest decision. So yes, enjoy today, but start to plan for what does this look like? Are my decisions today something that are setting me up for the next 50 years of my life? If you're 80, you can still have a strong 20 years. That is legitimate right now. We know that not in the US, but overseas, like especially in Japan, average life expectancy is getting to be like 87 to 90 years old. And so if we're looking at that, we say, wow, well, if we're doing all the right things, why not me? Why not us? And we don't always know the plan that might be laid out for us, but all we can do is our best. And so here's the thing though. What are some of the things that we can do today that are a little bit harder, but that would set us up for the future? So it is one of those things that it's constant reassessment saying like, is it worth it? Because you do have to ask yourself if it's worth it. Meaning like, I don't know if it's worth it to work 16 hours a day, not see your family, not see your kids, so that you might be able to do X, Y, and Z in 15, 20 years from now. I don't know if it's worth it, but for some people, the answer is yes, it is. Because they need to work that many hours in order to pay for kids' education. Whatever it is that their family needs, a roof over their head. And I get it, and I respect that. But everybody has to weigh their own pros and cons. So is the level, if you're working 16 hours a day, is it worth it right now? I work 16 hours a day for many, many years. And I actually don't regret that at all. It was in my 20s and early 30s before I did have kids. And I was able to, I believe, shortcut my path to success. Now, 16-hour days doesn't sound like it, right? But the reason is that I learned all the things not to do. And that just takes time. So if you put in more time, you learn all the things not to do faster. That's essentially it, right? So when I was starting my first location, I had to learn about hiring. I had to learn about software. I had to learn about rents and leases and all of these things beyond what I love to do, which is simply helping people, right? With health, with wellness, with integrative health, functional medicine, lab testing, all of that. I had to learn all of these other things, the legal, again, I could go on. And all of it really not things that I wanted to do, not things that I enjoyed by any stretch of the imagination, nor was I even good at them, right? But I had to learn those. So first I did my job. And then after my job was done, I did the other hours learning about what it is I needed to in order to get to what I wanted. Now, was it worth it? Absolutely. It absolutely was, right? Because I was moving towards a North Star. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to open up my first nutrition and personal training location back in the early 2000s. And then after that, I wanted to open up the first functional medicine clinic in Boston. And I did that. And doing those things didn't necessarily have a blueprint. So I had to just head down, work hard, put in the hours. And I was able to do that because at that time, I didn't have kids, but then just my first daughter was born. So that was a challenging year and a half, 2 years. Opening up my clinic that first year and the birth of my daughter, right? First daughter. And so everything changed and it was a tremendous amount of work. But on the other side of that, a year after I opened, everything stabilized. We had built up our name. We had a team of over 20 people, of clinicians and personal trainers, nutritionists, and it was amazing. It was great. It took the years of learning before that, and then the year of not only half a year build out, and then the year of building the location to make it work. But it was all worth it. I was moving towards something that I was committed to and that I truly wanted for many reasons. Lifelong goal, dream, wanted to help people like I was able to be helped. That's the truth. But beyond that part, we also have to look at the many other aspects of life besides just our career, financial, whatever it might be. We need to look at our overall health. Are the decisions we're making today and this week ones that will move us forward towards a life of essentially pleasure, good health, or pain in the future, which is ill health, chronic disease? And so I look at it this way, that I run my labs every 6 months, and I'm looking at my Big Five, and I'm looking at my blood work. And I simply want to make sure that everything is good. Then I'm also, though, taking into consideration my day-to-day function with biometric-based health and like, how am I feeling? Because that matters. It really does. You want to wait every 6 months. And even if your labs look good and you don't feel well, you want to listen to the voice inside your head that's saying something's not quite right. Something's not quite right, right? So I want to look at that. That's how I'm taking care of me. And what I've found is that for me, I eat well, very similar breakfast, lunch, and then my wife makes an amazing dinner every night. It's a protein, it's a vegetable, a couple of different vegetables. I'm always using olive oil. And then it's some type of typical starch like sweet potato, Japanese yams, etc. And that's based on exercise and all of that. So for me, like, the nutrition's pretty steady, and I've got my exercise routine. I don't overdo it. I'm gradually building up a little bit more exercise. But I'm like, did I get my 10,000 steps today? Did I get my weight training in 3 times a week? Did I get my cardio in? And I look to do no more than 1 to 2 cheat meals or flex meals per week. And so that's what I found kind of maintains all of that. Now, the hard life is I don't have ice cream every night. The hard thing is I don't eat chocolate or have whatever I want at any time, right? So the decision is, even though it's not hard, but again, for many people, I think that it is. And for me, it was in the very beginning as well. It's like, you don't get to have all of those, malt treats on a daily basis because you're committed to your overall health. Exercise. Sometimes I want to work out. Sometimes I don't. But if it's a day that isn't Sunday, then I'm exercising. I'm moving my body for 30 minutes. That's the minimum. And so that's what I do. And so what I want to say is this, is that, and because I share this with my daughters quite often, as I say, because, they have classes that they love and they have classes that they don't love in school. And I said, listen, in life, you're not going to love everything that you have to do. It's not going to happen. We want to be realistic about that. However, many of the things that you don't love to do, you can see what it's enabling for in the future. Don't like to exercise? Okay, but it's maintaining a healthy weight and keeping you healthy in the future. Want to be able to eat, as I said, ice cream or cookies every single day? Understood. However, that's probably not great for your blood sugar, your overall cholesterol and metabolic health in the future, right? Or chronic-based disease. And so what we're doing today is still moving us towards an easier life in the future. Hard decision to say no today, because it's mental. You have to say no, but moving us towards a positive in the future. Don't want to exercise today, have to say yes, have to move, but what's it doing? Well, enabling better sleep, better blood sugar, all of those things we do want in the future. So although some of the challenges of our life we could remove if we wanted to, we don't always want to. We want to say to ourselves, yes, it is a bit of a challenge. However, it's allowing for an easier life in the future. And because of that, I say yes to it today. I say yes to taking up that challenge, to understanding that I don't have to love everything and every minute of my life. Meaning I don't hate it, but I don't have to say, oh, this is so amazing. But I can say, but it's leading to something that I truly want in the future. The hard decisions of today lead to the easier life in the future, and also to a life of far more options. In the future, if you are healthy, if you are where you want to be in terms of your career or your finances, your spirituality, your relationships, all those different areas, you also have a lot more leeway. You have a little bit of leeway to take a little time off because you've built up this archive of all of these great habits done day in and day out, and they begin to multiply. And also, all of the things that you once thought were hard get exponentially easier. It's not difficult to eat healthy after you've been doing it for, let's say, 3 months at a time. You just get into a rhythm like anything else. It's not necessarily difficult to exercise or walk 10,000 steps a day once you've gotten into the rhythm of that. So simply pen it into your day. Make it a part of your calendar, 30 minutes. Commit to it. After you do that one thing, you can always add on more. But add on that first thing, the first challenge that you're taking up where you say, yeah, I'm not going to get to my goal today or even this month, but I will achieve it over the next year or two. It's difficult to stay motivated and ready to take up that challenge for the next year. But for those that do, and I know you are one of those people, it's absolutely worth it. Thanks so much for tuning into today's Mindset and Motivation Monday. I thank you. I appreciate you for being a part of this community. And as always, do feel free to share the show with anyone you believe it could serve. I'll talk to you tomorrow on the Cabral Concept. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.